excited to have our panel today. How many of you feel like you're inundated with these crazy calls and stuff? I love the look on your face. That's it. So, fraud, cybersecurity, all kinds of things are going on. I think often it's easy for us to think perhaps, oh, but we live in this more or less quiet, smaller community. We're safe here. Williamson County is very safe. We are, but nevertheless, all this craziness goes on around us. And sometimes we get those calls that just sound so authentic. Oh, are they really in my Social Security or my taxes? Do I really need to do this? So we have a panel of experts today from the Georgetown Police Department who are going to educate us about some of these topics. And so I'll invite them to come up and introduce themselves. So if you all want to come on up here, Lieutenant Roby, I'll let you sit here. And I don't know if it matters.
Hello, hello.
You all heard of a whole lot of the So different types of one of us could be just right.
And notice they're standing. So if we have any misbehavior, they've got a head start.
I could also kick you out as well. So rowdiness.
So, okay, glad to hear that. And by the time you have all of this stuff on you, it just doesn't quite work in our neat director's chairs with the arms on them. So we appreciate your being flexible with this. So anyway, but if you'll introduce yourself and your colleagues, that'd be great.
All right. So I'm Lieutenant Roby with the Georgetown Police Department. Right now, I'm over community engagement, the school resource officers, the parking ambassadors, which if you ever see them downtown, they wear yellow vests and they make sure they're following the rules around the square.
And they mark your tires with the little
They
blue
no longer do that. So we are advancing. They have an iPad now that takes a picture, logs a license plate, and when they come back around, they take a picture again, and if it alerts that it's been there for longer than 3 hours, the first thing they do is they write a warning. They have to by the statute. And then from there, it'll go tickets if you continue to do that downtown.
So you can't just roll forward and hope they don't see the blue mark.
No wiping off the chalk anymore. No moving back and forth. Now, we do have some that will actually move out of one spot and move to the spot right next to it.
And it doesn't work.
Technically, that's not a violation because you're in a new spot. So we don't encourage that because the main reason for that downtown parking is to allow customers to park down there. And these are people that work for the businesses down there. And they do that, but they're still taking up a spot that people could come into their business. So it's for them, but the employees don't see it that way. So our people try to talk to the business owners and ask them if they can tell their employees to move their vehicle so that way they free it up. So really, Rick Urso is our main one. He's been here for about 2 years. He's the one downtown. He does a lot of community engagement stuff where he doesn't issue a lot of warnings and stuff because he works with the businesses and tries to find out better ways to move them. And then people that are visiting, they'll come up to him and, can I park here? And he'll help them on the times and where it needs to be. So they do a great job down there.
I just have to say one thing in that. For those how many of you came to these seminars before COVID? I know a number of you did. We were at First Presbyterian. And First Presbyterian was the first block where people could park without the 3-hour parking.
Oh, okay.
And so it was a little crowded sometimes for parking because I could see anyway. But then we moved.
Yeah.
But so we're familiar with the parking 3-hour limit there.
Yes.
Especially if you have a business downtown.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm also over the volunteers. So we have a volunteer coordinator. He handles all the different things, what the volunteers do at the PD. The front desk, we have our front reception desk staffed Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 by volunteers. The entire thing. We don't have any full-time staff that cover that. Now, during COVID, Officer Salinas had to step in and take some of those shifts because there was not a lot of people coming in and different regulations and stuff we had to fill in. So that's a huge thing for volunteering.
Okay, one thing so where is the police department now?
So Williams Drive, if you go out and there's the HEB, if you take a left, like you're going down DB Wood towards the lake, we're right on the left after you pass, there's Fire O, then there's a fire station, then the police department is right past that. It's fire station and the police department are all like on one site there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
If you need to come in the lobby for anything, you can always come in there and the receptionist will greet you, tell them what you need, and they'll be able to help you and guide you. And just some backstory on me. I'm 15 years with the department. I did patrol for about 7 years where I became a field training officer. And then after that, I went to motors where I did accident reconstruction, rode a motorcycle every day, wrote tickets. So hopefully I didn't write any tickets to y'all out here. We were out in Sun City a lot, but the majority of people that were speeding were not even Sun City people, it's people coming through. So we ticketed a lot of people that were going 55 and a 35 out in Sun City. So issued a lot of tickets, promoted to sergeant, went back to patrol for 4 years, promoted to lieutenant, was on patrol for another year after that, and then moved over here, and I've been here about a year now. So that's kind of my backstory.
So you see the police department covers a lot, and that's what we're going to be learning. Sometimes we pigeonhole and don't realize all that's going on within our city services. So,
There's a lot of things we cover.
okay. So, and with you today, we have,
Hello, I am Trey Walters. I've been with the department about 11 years. I've been a mental health officer and instructor of numerous different things, but I'm fairly new to the community engagement unit. Only about 3 months.
Yep.
About 3 months with community engagement, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Getting to meet new people, and I don't have to write tickets, so I'm happy, and everybody else is happy.
It's on.
it's on.
It is on.
Okay, so I'm Officer Salinas. I've been with the Georgetown Police Department a little bit over 12 years. With community engagement, I think 3 years already. So I'm actually he's a lieutenant, 3 months, 3 years. So I get to engage more. I don't have to be arresting drunks or dealing with any of that nonsense, at least not that often. But they really do have me here because I'm the good looking one. So they want me to influence the crowd. So nah, just kidding. Anyway, we're here for you all. When I was in patrol, I used to love servicing our citizens. The thing is, a lot of times we're called to call. So now in community engagement, we actually could take time. I don't have to be on another call. We could actually be here to attend to whatever needs you guys have, whether it be scams, frauds, thefts, anything, explain things, answer questions or whatever, and not be rushed. We're here for you all. That's why I love working the community engagement side. So take advantage of it right now that we're here.
We appreciate your taking time to be with us today. And so, this is going to be pretty free flowing, but we have some topics that we do want to cover. Sit down. Go ahead. I was talking to Lieutenant Roby before about, to me, and just my observation, how these scams seem to kind of go in waves. You'll see a lot of one kind, and then something else comes up, or they refine it a little bit. But let's start off, and I'll ask you, and whoever then wants to respond, what are some common scams? Are there things that are particularly important for seniors to be aware of?
Yes. So right now, the biggest things that are going on are people calling saying you have warrants, or you've missed jury duty, or you have something with the law enforcement, city related type thing. After that, they're going to ask for gift cards, and they want you to go purchase the gift cards, read the number off the back. They take that number, they empty out that account, and we don't have a way to get that money back. It's pretty much gone at that point. They'll also do things where they want to meet you at like an ATM that sells Bitcoin. They'll have you buy Bitcoin, and we've had $10,000 of Bitcoin purchased, hand delivered to somebody waiting on the parking lot. They drive off, and then the person's like,
That's it.
that seems kind of weird, and it was a scam. Bitcoin, we don't have a way to get that back either. That money's pretty much gone. We did have some stuff that we've dealt with the Trade Commission. They're a good resource if you ever send money. They even express that they have been able to get some of that money back. So they have a lot of access and abilities to do things that we don't do. A lot of this stuff is from other countries, and they call in, and we don't have jurisdiction there. It then falls to the FBI. But like I said, the Federal Trade Commission, they actually have investigators that have actually been able to make arrests and get money back. And I learned that from one of the seminar that I actually worked with. I had the Federal Trade Commission representative there, and she was explaining all this. They're a good resource to reach out to and talk to and ask, what advice that y'all can have. I'm not sure what their response is like, but the lady that we were talking to, she had a ton of information to give.
Okay, so other things that you all want to add, and I'm going to pick up on something here.
I would say in general, no matter who is calling or they send a letter to you, it could be a letter that looks just like it is the IRS. And it is almost always not the IRS. But if you get a letter from your bank, if you get a letter from the IRS, you get a letter from anybody at all, if you get a phone call from someone, no matter what kind of communication they use, verify it. Don't use the number that they tell you to call on the mail. Don't, they say you could call us back at such and such a number. They may even have a machine that will pop up that it shows caller ID that it is the IRS, and it's still not. Go to a different source. You can call us or come by the police station. You can also go to your Social Security local office where you know that that is the Social Security office. Here it's on Williams Drive. I believe it's like 3010 Williams Drive. And you can find out in person. And most of the time you're going to find out that it's a scam. We didn't send anything to you. This is a scam. So that, I think that's the most important thing. If we say you have a warrant, I've been called and told I have a warrant with the Williams County Sheriff's Office. And I laughed. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. Where do I turn myself in? They said, well, you don't need to. You can pay the fine. It's like, that's great. How do I do that? But they do be aware they have long-term scams. Some of the long-term scams, they are not going to ask you for money. In fact, they're going to say, I'm with the FBI and I'm actually trying to help out. Or we're from your bank and we saw a transaction. Okay, we took care of it. If you check your bank account, just make sure everything looks okay. You check your bank account, everything looks great. Said, I'm going to give you a number. This is the FBI agent in charge of your case. And then from there, the FBI agent says, you're just helping us out. They're gathering information little by little. And then it could be 6 months later until they actually do something where they're really getting money from you. So that's why you have to be extra cautious.
I want to add one thing. The sense of urgency is something that makes us not think straight because you're worried, you're upset. You'll get text messages or emails saying your subscription is going to renew, and you're like, what subscription? So you're worried there's going to be a charge on your credit card or something because you haven't subscribed to anything. So they're playing on your fear for you to click right away, or they're saying, thank you for your payment. You're like, what payment? I didn't make a payment. So you panic and you want to get information right away. So whatever it is, if they're calling that your grandson's in jail or the IRS or warrant, my main thing is don't panic, take a breather, hang up, let your brain analytical part catch up with the emotions. And then you're going to realize, okay, it's probably a scam. But if you take your time, no matter what it is, you rushing is not going to make a difference in that one day. So just take your time. That's the main thing. Take your time, breathe, and your brain will kick in eventually and say, wait a minute. This is just the fear, the rush, the emotion. I remember getting a receipt and they charged me for an extra item. And oh man, you're almost running red lights to get back to, no, you charge. So you get in that emotion, that worry right away, and that's how they get you. So just breathe, wait, and let the brain kick in. That's my advice to y'all.
When you get that call, and we're going to save questions for just a minute, but we'll come back from the IRS. Many of us get that, feeling of, oh no, what's wrong? And we sit there, no, this really can't be, but it might be. I probably should do something. And so don't do anything.
Pretty much hang up, get the number off the website, Google search, IRS, get to their website, take the number that's there for their customer service, then call them. So that way you're controlling that, you know what's going on. And then when you call them, they'll either go, no, we didn't reach out to you, that's a scam. Or actually, yes, here, we'll send you to a representative that can help you with this, and then you can work through the issue. But if you are contacted, don't be willing to give out information. I've had that with student loans. Back in the day, they called me about it. And I said, okay, well, tell me if you're handling my student loans, then what's my social? Well, we can't tell you that. So, but then you're asking me to tell you that. It's like, I'm not going to give that to you. So I'm going to hang up. I'll call back and make sure everything's legit. And it ended up being legit, but it was still, they were asking for way too much information over the phone, and they contacted me. And I don't give that information out that way.
When some of us get calls about student loans and how many years has it been, but I mean, and I'm going, no, wrong number. While we're on that subject, something that's been freaking me out recently is what I keep hearing about. I know we've just said, don't act immediately, ask or whatever. But the whole thing that's going on with recording our voices and using artificial intelligence, could you tell us a little bit about that?
So basically, if you have an iPhone, one of the good things they have, and I'm sure it's on other devices, but I only have iPhone, they have a thing where you can do silence unknown callers, call blocking identification, block contacts, different things like that, where you can click on, and anything that's unknown, potentially spam call.
In your settings, where do you
Yes,
find
under
it?
settings, under the phone portion of settings.
The provider, if you go where you buy your phone or where you have your service, they could walk you through it. Like if
Yeah.
you have AT&T, Verizon, whatever, they'll walk you through it.
If you have an iPhone, go to settings and it's in the phone section. You click on that, scroll down, and it has all the stuff that kind of lists out the different things that you can do, silence unknown callers. And some of the downsides, if you actually call somebody that you want services with, say AC. I had that recently with the AC company. I called them, set up an appointment. Well, when they reach back out, they do it from like an automated thing and it sends them straight to voicemail. So then they're leaving a voicemail going, hey, we tried to reach out, but it went to voicemail. So then I have to call back and go, no, my phone blocks scams and all that. Since your number is an automated thing, it's going to do that. So with them, I always tell them, if you're trying to reach me, send me a text message so I know who you are, kind of the description stuff, and then I will call you back. None of the stuff that they send out, like they'll do invoices these days, that they'll send a text, you click on the link, it takes you the invoice, you can pay the invoice. Before I click on any of that, I call the company, say this one, Temperature Pro. Did y'all send me a link for an invoice? Yes, we did. Okay, then I'll click on the link, I'll do the stuff to make sure it's legit. So just a lot of the stuff is just checking to make sure you're doing the right thing. A lot of times too, using a credit card is helpful because if you have issues with frauds or scams with that, they can return the money easier than like your bank credit card, debit card, that kind of stuff. So if you have a credit card, it's safer. If fraudulent charges show up on it, you call them, contact them. They'll reverse those charges easier. The debit card, I don't know if you've ever experienced it. You have to go to the bank. The money will stay out of your account until they decide that it's a fraud to give back, and it may take 2 weeks. So we've had people that have had $2,000 disappear, and then you call them like, if it's 2 weeks. And that money was their house payment. So they're now going to be behind on their house payment because they're waiting for that money to come back. That's one of the reasons why I switched to a credit card as a primary thing, but you got to make sure statement balance every month. Don't carry over. You don't get charged interest if you're paying statement balance. So there's some good things with it.
For some of us, it'd be an important step to even check our statements and see if those are. And I did not know the difference between the debit card and the credit card for that. So that's interesting too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a big difference with that.
Now, what about the recording of our voice?
Okay, sorry, we got off topic a little bit.
That's all good
Uh,
information.
Artificial intelligence. They're using, say, you get a call from an unknown number. You answer, hello. They start asking questions, and it may not be anything about your bank account or anything that you're thinking is suspicious. They're just wanting your voice, and they have different questions they ask that get different words that match the AI up to your voice. So answering those calls and talking to a person that you don't know, they may be recording and setting that up. So I always recommend, if you don't know the number, don't answer it. If it's an important call, they'll leave a voicemail, and then you can hear the voicemail and you can call them back if you want to. On your voicemails, don't leave an extensive voicemail either because your voice is on there as well. So they may be able to pull that off of the voicemail. So I really just say do the generic one or just something simple, quick. Maybe you change your voice a little bit and they sound weird, but leave a message or something like it's not gonna be my voice or my tone or whatever. So the generic ones you can, if you have any voice modification stuff that you can do to where it alters the voice, where it goes on there as your voicemail, it's a safe thing. If you're getting a call and it's a loved one, it will sound identical to your loved one's voice. And we've had people that have panicked. Lady in particular, her daughter was upstairs, received a phone call that her daughter was being held hostage. Daughter's voice was so real that she started crying, panicking. And then daughter heard, came downstairs and like, Mom, what's going on? And right then, like, this is a scam. Just, it's so real. It's hard to not like give into it, but you've really got to stop these days and go, okay, I'll call and I'll check back or just straight hang up. call your relative right then. Even if they say, don't call mom, don't call the relative, whatever, hang up. Call the relative. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. What's going on? All right. I received a call that seemed suspicious. They pretended to be you, that kind of thing.
So if we get those calls, is it worthwhile or appropriate to let you all know, or is it, would you
Not
just
really.
be inundated?
So that type of stuff, you can let us know. It kind of gives us an idea of what's going on currently. But the biggest thing is to contact your neighbors, your friends, anybody that you know that be in similar situations that may fall for the same thing. Spread the word. There's a scam going around. Now, if you're out money, if you're out other stuff, then contact us. But if they just called and said, hey, I'm, so and so, that number for us is untraceable. We can't do anything with it. And like I said, most of the time, it's in another country. So we can't do much with that. But if you are out something, contact us and then we'll go from there. And like I said, if you did send money, Federal Trade Commission, reach out to them, the FBI, find out what they can do for you.
Wow. I'm making my list of things I need to do, like do something about my voice message and maybe have somebody else record mine or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I answer back in Spanish.
Oh,
Sí, no hablo español. And they were like, there you go.
You can always try that. I'm
So learn Spanish.
They're like, you don't speak Spanish.
and did you want to say something?
I would say we don't have this very often, but if it is a scam in person, once again, just contact us. They could say, I'm a Georgetown police officer. And we do have, a lot of times we don't wear uniforms.
We're naked.
We have our badge, we have our IDs. I can even show you, we all carry our badge in here, the metal one, and then we have our
Just like we see on TV.
just like that. However, they may have something fake. And even though that is pretty rare, never hesitate to go back in just don't open the door. It's the police, ma'am. We kept getting 911 hang up calls. It may be a legitimate police officer and they may be in uniform, they may not be, but it never hurts. You can always call 911 on that phone and say, hi, I have the police at my door. I live at such and such address. They're going to verify through 911. Yes, we do have a police officer at your door. The other thing they do is sometimes they prey on your fears in a different way, that I'm with the FBI, you're helping a sensitive case. Don't tell anyone. My aunt lives in Sun City, and for 3 months, even though I'm her son or her, nephew, she didn't tell anybody because she was working on this very important case with the FBI. And I mean, she has a master's degree of education. She used to be a school principal. She has no cognitive issues. Her kindness and trying to help out and her sense of duty is what kind of had her going down that road. And I'm glad at some point somebody said something who, basically my cousin called me and said, you need to talk to my mom. And then we found out from there. And she was even scared to tell me because, well, it's the FBI, not Georgetown Police. So just always feel free to contact us. And if it's in person, they're not in uniform, you can always call the non-emergency number or 911 and get somebody there in uniform. A legitimate police officer is never going to have a problem with you verifying who we are.
Anything we're working, we're never going to tell you to not tell anybody. That is not what we do. If you decide to tell somebody, we may suggest that you don't communicate with somebody or you don't say this, but we will never say, do not tell anybody. That is just outside of our realm of stuff.
So that's like a red flag.
Oh, yes. Anything that we deal with, we are here helping you. So we're not going to try to keep you quiet about anything. You tell your family, your friends, whatever you want to do, that's on you. That's your decision. We may give recommendations, say it's like some type of call where you're dealing with one person in particular and they're having issues about something, and we're saying, like, just don't have contact with that person. But if you decide to have contact with that person, that's up to you. But we'll never be like, absolutely not, unless you have a protective order, a restraining order, or something that says you cannot go within this certain distance of that. But if you got to that point, you've done some other things wrong and you've probably been to jail at this point. So just in a normal situation, we're never going to tell you not to tell anybody.
So if you're a stalker, we're not going to give you permission to go bother that person.
Okay. So we learn a lot from these. I don't know if you all had a Brielle sent me a message about they've got some great cautionary tales to share. And we do learn those. We think, oh, that really doesn't happen. But as you suggested with your aunt, I believe it was, an educated person,
Yep.
we can get drawn in. And it's that awareness and telling others to make them aware. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's skip down for just a minute. Cybersecurity. And we've kind of touched on that with emails. Anything else you all want to add about cybersecurity?
Pretty much of that safest thing, like I said, don't click on any link that you're sent. Verify it first, then do it. With the city, we have a phishing thing that we turn in for our IT to check out. They send it back to us. I don't know if the private ones have some of that. I've seen them before, but I haven't used a ton of that. Any text message, any email, don't click on the link. Again, that's one of the biggest things. Your package can't be delivered. It's at the warehouse. Click on this link to verify. Majority of the time that is not correct. And if you look at the person that sent it to you, it's not like UPS. It's like Rebecca367@gmail type thing. Like, okay, it's going to be more official, the address and everything, but still verify it first before you do anything with the cybersecurity stuff.
It's so easy to get caught up in that curiosity. Oh, but is it really? I don't think I ordered anything, but I want to see. And that could create problems.
Yeah, I had a text message. My RBFCU account had been, hacked or compromised. Click on this link, and I was like, oh, I have that. And I almost went to click on it. And I went, no, I mean, they almost got me to click on that one. Called RBFCU, and they're like, no, you don't have an account. That's a scam. Cool. Good to verify.
And I hear this blue. Is that a pretty good indication that it's fake?
So something that is delayed. You get automated calls when you answer, and it'll make a noise where it's like clicking from the calling thing to the actual person. Those I like to, if I used to, now I just don't answer them anymore, but I used to answer and say hello. And as soon as I hear it click and the person go to start talk, I hang up. Like just so that frustration for them, maybe just a little added extra of like, y'all are scamming us. I'm going to frustrate you a little bit. But now that I block everything, I don't answer everything, it goes to voicemail. I don't have an issue with that. So that's one of the biggest things. If you don't know the number, just don't answer it.
So what about all the calls, and I'm sure just our own interest groups, we get different calls. For whatever reason, I get a lot of calls from, with the police, we're a group supporting police or firefighters. We're raising money. Cancer, breast cancer seems to have, never ending calls. And then you go, is this real? Is it not? How do we know, or just don't do it?
Yeah, don't do it, and call, like say if they say that's with Georgetown Fire Department, they were reaching out for stuff. Hang up, call the Georgetown Fire Department. Are y'all doing this? Are y'all asking for money? They'll
No.
tell you no, and you don't have to worry about it.
The most they do is with the boot outside of
Yes.
in uniform with the fire truck. That's going to be legit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see the fire truck. You'll see the firefighters. They have the boot.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a guy wearing homeless clothes holding the boot, he's probably not with the fire department. I mean, you can ask, but he's probably not.
The boot probably has a hole in it anyway. So
The Trooper Association, police associations, I'm on the, we're on the board of the association. We don't ask for money. Some of them are legitimate-ish, where it might be a state trooper association, but I can tell you right now, almost none of the troopers really see a lot of that money. They're little side national associations. They may have registered as a real company, but there's really no point. We're not receiving any of that. So pretty much, once again, if you get a call or an email or a letter in any way, shape, or form, just verify with legitimate source. Don't trust anything that phone call or letter says. Verify it with something else.
actually, the best way to support your local law enforcement, don't get scammed. Lock up your stuff. Leave things out of view so they don't break your window. So you don't take the resource of us having to take a report and do an investigation. Some of our detectives they're working 200 cases each. So you want to help us, just be safe. Take care of your stuff.
hopefully we'll remember this conversation when we're feeling guilty because we're not supporting our law enforcement, or somebody else's pockets. But so, don't you sometimes have that kind of feeling of guilt, like, oh, I really should give to this cause?
No, save it for the line of Panda, and they want something for the McDonald's house. Give that extra 30 cents to round up to $1. That stuff helps. The only thing that we send out in a mailer is the National Child Safety Council. We'll send out a letter to past donators to ask if they would like to donate again, and they do like a generalized mailer. But the address is the PD, and it goes to my name. So you can look that up. You can call the Georgetown Police Department to verify that, to make sure that's legit. That stuff goes to our 501c3 that allows us to have the material that we are handing out today. So there are some things that are legit, but we only have one that we send out in the mail. After that, if you want to help out the Georgetown Police Department, looking into volunteering and the CPA program, the Citizens Police Academy, signing up for one of those classes, you get to come and see all the stuff we do, the different places we go to, jails, judges, different things. It's very educational. And at the end of it, you can join the CPAAA, the Alumni Association. They're the ones that handle our 501c3 that handles everything from our Explorers, Junior Police Academy, the bike unit, all these different things that money is donated will go directly to those units. If you donate directly to Georgetown Police Department, it goes to the general fund, and we don't see that money. So if you ever want to know how you can help us out, volunteering is the biggest thing, and we're always looking for more volunteers. At one point, we had like 200 something volunteers, but because of COVID, we're down about 140 now. And I'd say probably 80 are fully active, and the others are just kind of members and here and there type thing. So we always need help.
Okay, I want to switch a little bit, and then we'll come back for general questions too. We often hear, oh, your house has been stolen out from under you. Your documents have been fraud, there's been fraud going on. Someone's gone in and you no longer own your house. You find out there are these extra mortgages on your house and all kinds of scams like that. So, and one that I want to, one of your handouts from the Property Fraud Alert. This comes from Williamson County. There is a website there where you can go on to register, where you can be made aware if something suspicious is going on your, I assume your deed, but this is from the county. So this is a good resource to look at and register, because it's one of those things you register. I did when I found out about this. And then, well, is it working? I'm not hearing from them. Well, I guess it's working because no one must be messing with our property. But anyway, so this is a good resource. And from what I understand, I'm talking with the people in the county, when you hear those things you can buy on TV to do that, the one that's offered through the county seems to really cover that from what I understand. You can verify for yourself. Anything you want to add about that, or?
No, just basically with that stuff, if you have any type of monitoring that you do, Credit Karma, LifeLock, just actually with the credit bureaus themselves, just check. I'm almost checking at least a couple times a week just to make sure everything's good, the credit score's good, there's nothing on there that looks weird. Same thing with your statement balances. Almost daily, credit card balance, statements, because the apps are so easy these days, you click on it, and if there was anything weird on there, checking it daily, it may get lost if you check it monthly. But if you check it daily to at least once a week, it's easier to see, well, I didn't spend $100 there, because they'll start out with small purchases that you may not notice at all on the balance, and then they increase it. So at one point I had about $800 that they did over one day. So I checked it the next morning, and they had made purchases in Florida, and then there was at the Florida Walmart, and then the gas station, that kind of thing. And it was about $800. So I had to call and say, I was not in Florida, so these are not my charges. The credit card company will shut off your credit card. They'll send you a new one. That kind of is an inconvenience because that credit card now is no longer usable. So I keep two, and one is generally for my gas. But when one is compromised, then I can use the other one until I get that other credit card back. But it's a statement balance thing. I always push that for financial stuff. That way you don't get behind, you don't get interest charges, and all of a sudden you have 10 grand on an account that you didn't need to have 10 grand on. and then you got to pay that back plus interest.
So, a while ago, we talked about one of the differences between credit cards and debit cards. And this point of having two credit cards, I was with a woman last night talking about real estate, and this had happened to her. One of her cards had been, she had one credit card. It had been compromised. So she called. She went to get gas. Her credit card was declined to protect her. It's like, wait, well, and I hadn't thought through that because some of us have business and professional, so it's okay. But an interesting point to take away by having two, I do not want another credit card. Well, if you monitor it and if you're responsible about it, it could be a backup plan for you.
Yes. If everything is used wisely and you're only spending what you have, then you're doing great. Credit cards are not just spend whatever you want and no worries. I have a grandmother who has 25 credit cards. And we said, why do you have 25? She goes, I don't know. They keep sending them to me. Grandma, that is not a good idea. She is responsible. She takes care of them, but it's kind of funny sometimes because she'll go up to the cash register and she'll pull the whole stack of 25 up and then kind of fan them out and be like, all right, put it on this one. Okay.
When it comes to protecting yourself against somebody opening an account in your name, things like that, most of the three major credit agencies like Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, those are the three big credit agencies. They have, as well as some private companies, have services where you can monitor your credit. Some of those agencies also have a lock button. So there's a credit freeze, and a credit freeze means like your credit is, you've literally written a letter and said, nobody can take out a loan in my name at all. It is very hard to unfreeze your credit once it's frozen. Not impossible, but a credit lock is different. I have on my phone, I'll say one of the credit agencies, I have a monthly monitoring fee. I just pay it annually to save a little money. And on that, it just constantly tells me my credit score. It tells me all my people, whatever cards I have and everything else, so I can keep track. And there's a little button that says lock. So right now I have that turned off because I'm actually applying for a loan. It's very
What kind of loan are you applying for?
a motorcycle loan. He's making me buy a motorcycle.
So I'm gently suggesting that it'd be a fun experience.
But I found that out the hard way. We were purchasing a car and we were doing a loan, and they said, you were denied. I said, no, I have an 840 something credit score. I wasn't denied. And I forgot to unlock my credit. But it's a little button on my phone, and I literally just hit lock and unlock. When it is locked, nobody can take out a credit card, anything that requires a credit check. They cannot take it out in my name. It is impossible.
So you lock it per credit card. It's not locking all of them. It locks.
Every single loan, credit card, like nobody can apply for anything in your name.
For new ones. This not existing.
Right. This is an existing credit card. Yes, you can still use your credit card. It's just nobody can apply for anything in your name while you have it locked. And then again, if you're like, well, I'm about to go do a refinance on my mortgage, or I'm going to buy a car where I need a credit card, obviously, even insurance, technically, they do a credit check. And that depends on, I don't know why, but they use your credit as how much you're going to pay for insurance sometimes. So you do want to unlock it during those times. Otherwise, you can keep it locked. And we did that for my aunt, and that actually protected her from anybody opening anything.
Can you speak to the Knox box? What I was
So with some,
yeah, go ahead. Knox box.
Knox Box, the fire department has. If you go to the fire station over by the police department, I believe that's the one that they have, or actually
HEB. Yeah.
in the police department. So the police department shares offices with AG's office, game warden, and the fire department. So if you go into that main one, that's where their administration is. You could go to the front desk, theirs is off to the right when you go in the lobby, and ask them about a Knox box. They will be able to provide all the information for that. I believe you have to pay for the Knox box. Or
You buy the box. You buy the box.
You buy the box too, and you have to have it installed.
Yeah, well, you can install it yourself if you want, but they sell you the box at cost. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think you could even buy online, like through Amazon or something a lot.
You can't.
Yeah, they do have them available online.
So tell them what the purpose of the Knox box is.
Well, the knock box, they'll get you put a copy of your key, your house key, inside the box. So the fire department has to go there instead of knocking your door down. They have access to your house key from that knock box. It's a very secure box. It's not easy to open, and it's controlled because the only person is the chief of that truck or whoever's in charge of that truck is the only one with access to the key that opens your key box. And it's monitored.
It's only for the fire department, police department.
No, we don't.
Correct.
So state law has changed and they're allowing the police department to have those keys. They haven't implemented it yet, but we will have access at some point. But if we need to get into the house and there's a Knox box, we can call the fire department, tell them what's going on, and they can show up and they can open the box for us and get that in there. Most of the time we need that type of thing is if we had a 911 call and someone is not answering and we think you're in the house and you have fallen, something's fallen on you, you've had a medical condition and we need to get in there. If we're doing that, then we are present for the fire department as they make entry because it's a medical thing and it's not a police related thing. So we're just basically like scene security just in case someone had gotten in your house and they were still in there, and we make sure the scene's safe for the firefighters to come in. So that's why most of the time they're called second responders, because we have to make it safe for the firefighters. If you tell them that, they're not going to like it, but we enjoy it.
So generally, don't people also have in their emergency contact information? Or
They can place anything. It's just a lockbox that only the fire department for now has access to, and it is bolted to your house, so nobody can break into it. So you can put anything in there you want. I mean, nothing crazy, but you can put a list of emergency contacts. You can put a house key. You can put whatever. Transitioning, there's another way to do it. What we've done with my aunt's house, my mom's house, my in-laws, they all live in Sun City. Even my house, because my wife loses keys pretty much like tissue paper.
But she puts the address on them so they can return.
Yes. We actually have her keys now on GPS with an air tag. She's still lost them when we found them. So what we did was we put a lock on every single house. My house, my aunt's house, everybody's house. And we put a keypad. My aunt didn't want the front door to have a keypad. She just didn't want that. So we put it on the back door. And then on our Smart 911 systems, we have the pamphlets back here. With Smart 911, you can fill in your information. And if you call 911, they can look up the information on that house. Only the dispatchers can look it up. Only if you're calling 911. It's very, very safe and secure, your information. But you could, for instance, put, and please don't use this code, it's a super secret code, 1234. If that is your door code, you should probably change it. But if that's your door code, you can put that in the police system. It goes under your address, under police and fire. So even if we show up and you're saying, hey, I've fallen down, I can't get up, it's right now not a medical emergency. I really don't want you breaking my door in, but there's no other way to get in. Maybe your Knox box isn't working or you don't have one. That is an alternate way that we also could get in. We could have the code and we could enter it in your door. But it doesn't take away from having a physical key with a knock box. That is also a great program.
But go pick up and clarify again for people who aren't aware, the Smart 911. And you said you have information at your table.
For 911, you also could put your information, medical, emergency contacts. So when we arrive, we already have that information. A lot of times we get there and it's a medical call. Maybe the person's unconscious and we have to dig into drawers looking for family members or somebody who we could call, and you could have all that information there for us. Just expedites things a lot easier.
Right.
We know if you have allergies or whatever it is, you could put some medical information there.
So Officer Walters has to take off because he's going to take off. He's got a flight.
He's going on vacation.
Yes, he came in today this morning just to speak with y'all, but he has seen anything.
Appreciate your being here.
Thank you all.
So,
Bye, Trey.
thank you.
Will you use a siren before you leave?
I'll chirp out here. You might be able to hear it.
Don't freak out the kids in the pumpkin patch. So,
Oh, bunch of kids crying, scared.
So, okay. Wow, lots of information. And I know some people already knew that, but they're always good reminders. And some of us know it, but don't always take action on it. So we remind you about our action steps. What is it that you're going to take away from today that can be an action step for you? So you'll want to make note of that. And next month, I want to see if we have some people who have taken action steps. But let's go back now to and open this up to the floor for questions. Don.
You might have turned it off.
Bill, you want to,
We'll repeat the question anyway.
yeah, okay. Well, okay. Do you want to run it?
Yes.
Actually going to the police department itself.
Okay, the non-emergency number for the police, and what is the purpose of that? The difference between that and 911?
So the non-emergency number is to report something that's not actively happening. 911 is basically if somebody's breaking into your house, there's an assault going on, you had a crash, there's a medical thing going on, fire in the house, any type of emergency that's happening. If you were to look on and your statement and see, well, there's a fraudulent charge on here, that's for the non-emergency number. If somebody came by the house, knocked on the door, seemed a little suspicious, but they'd already left, that's the non-emergency number. Just general things that are not urgent, we do the non-emergency number.
It's 512-930-3510.
I like you all looking back and forth to verify, confirm.
We don't call that number a lot, so sometimes it kind of slips.
For us, it's speed dial 3, but for you guys, I don't know, it didn't work.
And they are working on 311.
The non-emergency number for the police department,
512-930-3510.
3510.
You're going to get an automated machine. If you want to file a report or something, you press number 1. If you know habla, you press number 2. But yes, 512-930-3510.
Okay, good. Jenny.
You broke it?
It's still not on her. Oh,
It did click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very tiny inside when it's opened up by the fire department, and there's literally room for maybe 2 keys at best. And there's no room for lots of paperwork or anything.
okay.
It is a tiny entry inside that.
So she's saying that the Knox box is very tiny. You can maybe fit 2 keys in there. So the main thing for the Knox box is to have access to your house so we don't have to break down your door. Now, if it's an emergency, Knox box or not, if we need to make entry, we're going to make entry. So don't worry about that. Most people I've seen in Sun City when I worked out there, they have their medical information usually in one of the drawers on the refrigerator or a red bag on top of one of the cabinets. So the Knox box is mainly for a key. It's a key for your house.
The thing that often comes up with Knox boxes too, if you're selling your home, people, what do I do with it? It's really a feature of your home. It's a nice feature. We market it that way. I do for my real estate clients. And then, then the transition comes and, the new people are made aware of it. They go to the fire station or make arrangements for them to come switch out the keys or whatever. So, okay, good.
But you can also take the box with you. So it's yours once you purchase it. If you want to leave it, you can as an added feature. But if you want to take it with you, you take it off the wall
Put it in your new house.
and put it on the new house. You may have to have the fire department to come out to open it. It just all depends on how it's installed. I think it's
Knox.
KNOX.
that way.
Knox.
Let us search it up there.
Hold on, he's going to
We
research.
did have a brochure at one time from the fire department about that, and I think that's what it is the KNOX. He'll verify.
Yes, KNOX.
What? Okay, Brielle will, in your follow-up, she'll send a link for that. Okay. Liz,
So the garage door code, you could put in there if you want to, but if you call the non-emergency number and speak to dispatch, tell them you live at this address, you would like to add a code for your garage that's attached to your address. Whenever a call comes in, say 911 hang up, address pops up, it'll have premise notes and it'll say on there, code for garage is this. So when we get there, if we can't find anything else and we need to go in, we can try that code and it's there accessible for us.
Now, for that to be effective, you can't lock the door from the garage into the house.
Yes, the door to the house has to be unlocked for us to be able to access that. And you can't have the pin out on your garage door either, keeping that, or the little lever pull. There's a whole bunch of little steps with that. So some people do it and then they pull the pin that makes the door not work. And then they also do the latch where it locks it. And we can't get in the garage even if we have the code.
But it is a good idea, and it can work well.
Yes.
Other questions that people have? Barbara?
Two comments. I have two comments. First, when you were talking about getting the letters and so forth, and you were talking about doing the Google search, I recently got one of those scam letters, and it was from Norton. Well, I don't have Norton. I have McAfee. So I knew that was wrong, but my husband got really kind of antsy about it. So I went on and I looked at the area code of the number they told us to call back. It tells you on Google that it's a scam. It's
Yes.
one of those scam area codes.
Yep.
So you can research it yourself and see that it's not. Now, after 41 years working for the Internal Revenue Service, I know how many people get scammed. You know, I've seen a lot of scams with Social Security numbers and so forth. So it's very important to be careful. The other comment that I'd like to make is,
Let me clarify on that one. So what you're saying is the number can be entered into Google.
Yes, if you punch the phone number in the Google search bar and then say, you could do just a number, but you can also do scam question mark. It'll pop up and it'll say, yes, this number is associated with scams. So Google is a resource that
You just
confirms.
type it right into Google and
Yep,
that's it.
that's what I've done. And she's talking about doing the area code. I've done the full number and it's returned Google saying, yes, this is a scam. And it'll have other numbers listed as well.
Okay. And then one more from Barbara, and then we'll move over here.
the other comment is that something you did not address yet is that my husband and I went to the bank. We had an appointment with one of the advisors. And so as we were going in, my husband said, let me get some money out of the ATM. So he goes up to the ATM and gets some money. Well, we notice in the parking lot, and this is on Williams Drive at the Bank of America. Okay. So we notice in the parking lot, there's a young couple sitting in a car watching everybody. So we get the money. We get the eerie feeling that if we'd left, they'd have followed us.
Yes.
We went into the bank, had our appointment, came back out. They were still sitting there, which that is very, very important for you to notice what's going on around you so that they don't follow you. My husband is a bicyclist and he's gotten where he will not stop and get money out of the ATM on his bike. He said it's too dangerous. And I've heard of people being followed all the way home and getting locked into their driveway and being stolen.
Yeah, it's called jugging. We've had a few cases like that. They'll see you get cash. The last one I helped out with, they got out of the bank, got $5,000, went and parked at a gas station, went into the gas station. They left the money in the truck, didn't lock the truck. They went in, took the money. So they're watching you. They see you go out there with cash and they follow you. So just be aware of your surroundings. Now, if you do see somebody suspicious like that after a while, you can call a non-emergency number. Don't do it the next day. Hey, yesterday I saw it, because it's not going to help. Because we've had those calls before. Hey, yesterday there was somebody suspicious there. Do it right there and then. We don't mind driving by. And I mean, it might be the cleaning crew or something waiting for their shift, or it might be somebody jugging. You know, we run the plate and they have an address out of Dallas. They don't live here. They don't know anything. You know, we could start an investigation there real quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
This is gas. When you put your card into the gas station, you buy gas. Have you found any around Georgetown that have been doctored?
The Skimmers.
So either they,
If you put, when you.
so the question is
Yeah.
getting skimmed at the gas station, and skimming is having your credit card duplicated where they use it in other places online, or even they make a fake card and they'll use it in person. What they do is they have a device that they put on the machine or in the machine, this depends, that when you swipe your card, and pull it back out, it scans the card and sends that to a device or stores it on whatever device is in there. They could come by and they get that transmitted and all that kind of information. The best stuff of that is using either the tap or the chip, where you insert it and leave it in there for the time it's supposed to be, and then take it out. Those are the ones I've seen that has been the most secure. Just the swipe method, that's the one I've seen a lot of times where they get skimmed. And me personally, the times that I've been at a gas station going, I have to get gas and I don't know when the next one is, this gas station seems suspicious, I've swiped it, and sure enough, the next day I'll have a charge in Austin for $150 of diesel or something. And so really the tap ones, that has a little screen out for credit cards, you see it. It's like a Wi-Fi looking signal. If you put that on there and use that, we've had good success with those. And the chip where you actually insert it and leave it in there until the machine tells you to pull it out. Those have been the two safest.
What happens when you use a tap or you use your Google Pay, like your phone or your watch, it's not your credit card number. It's like a token. So every time you use it, it uses a different number. So whatever number they steal, they can't reuse it because when you tap, it does a second number that associates with your credit card. I don't know how that works necessarily, but it's not directly getting your number. When you swipe it, it does get all the information from your credit card. And I've had those too. They'll start with a suspicious $1 charge on my account, 95 cents or something. You ignore it because it's a little, I always go for the $300 one. So I want to see what my wife's spending money on, or I want to catch the bill before she sees it. She sees what I buy on Amazon. So I get it right away. But that was a little one. And then you don't notice that little one, like we talked about earlier, they'll start charging bigger ones. So.
The Ring camera catches every time my husband has a delivery.
Yeah, I know, but I get them delivered at work. I get them delivered at my at the PD. So
We have ways around it.
sneakiness.
Other questions we have? Yes. Oh, okay. Then we'll come over here.
This is as much just a comment as a question. For those who take the Williamson County Sun, they have re-implemented putting in their cop calls column. And it's very informative, if nothing else, by location, where different things have happened. And I don't know if they do it weekly or if, I think it is weekly. And they will identify the type of crime that was committed, whether it was a break-in or whether it was something involving an auto theft. But it's an excellent little column that we had several years ago, and then it was deleted. And I've even had people that wrote a letter to the editor saying, we don't like having this, but it's extremely helpful because it does give general locations. It will say such and such, and sometimes very specific addresses.
So that's in the Williamson County Sun. And so what is that column or that heading? What?
Cop call.
Cop calls.
Cop calls. So, again, just to see what's going on. We think, oh, nothing goes on. Let's see, I promised I'd come right here. And, well, go ahead and get Marvin while she's there. Then we're coming here. Oh, okay.
We get people come stand at our door. They ring the bell. They're standing out there. There's their tree service. There's some survey, something. We have glass in our door. They can see that we're there. He feels very guilty because they can see us. I just ignore him.
Yes.
He feels guilty and he'll open the door and I can tell that is not safe. So
No.
when they're standing there and they can see you in there.
Don't feel guilty. It's your house.
Yeah, don't. So if they see you and they make eye contact, well, okay, and just walk towards the door, close your main door and lock it, and then walk away.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel bad about those people at all. They are there trying to sell you something, and they're using that, like, I see you there, to try to force that interaction.
Yeah.
And they try to push and push and push, and
I have a no soliciting sign. My wife doesn't like it because it doesn't look aesthetically nice with the house. I don't care. I have it in my window. And I still had a guy knock. I said, I know you have a no soliciting sign, but I'm like, Jesus. It does deter a lot because you're already saying no soliciting, but don't feel guilty, sir. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're just trying to make a buck. But for the most part, when bad people, they don't care about your feelings. They don't care if they're rude. They don't care if they're your health. They don't care about your money. It's the good people that usually are more sensitive to, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. But is this your house, your property, earned where, your money, it's yours. You have a right not to open the door to anybody, just like you have a right not to answer the phone to anybody. People get upset because I don't answer my phone. I'm like, I pay for my phone. It's for me to use. So you don't owe anybody anything. Now, if it's somebody in uniform, like you said, and you don't expect the police there, you want to call the police department, make sure it's an officer going to your house for a particular reason, it's a little different. But don't feel guilty. It's your house. You do not have to open the door to anybody if you don't want to. I don't. Even if they see me in the blinds, like you said, I make eye contact. I just turn around, keep watching TV. They'll leave. Trust me, you're not hurting their feelings. They're used to it. It takes a very particular personality to be able to knock on doors in sales. They're tough. They're okay. They'll be okay.
Along those lines, and I'll come over here. When people who come to your house to want to do repairs. Oh, I noticed your gutter is, or the spout, and we just finished the job and we can come in and do this. Oh, your trees need trimming. Just always be aware. And especially after we have our wonderful hailstorms, windstorms, and what happens the day later? Whoop! There are roofers everywhere. I'm not against roofers. I want respectable roofers who will be here next year and 5 years and 10 years down the road. Not those who are here there's a storm, let's drive overnight to get there. So just be cautious. Check references, resources.
Using the ones that knock, they all will give you 10-year warranty, but they're gone. You never know where they're at. If you use a reputable, thank you. If you use a reputable company, the warranty, they're there. They've been here a long time. If you have issues, they're going to come out and they're going to take care of you.
And if you're not sure, if you have a realtor, maybe you bought their house a long time ago, but call your realtor who worked with you or someone. I know a realtor who'll volunteer to help you. And we can let you know, because then what happens is you get ready to sell your home. Oh yeah, I have this transferable warranty, but I don't have any paperwork and I can't figure out, so please use a reputable roofing company. Okay. Now.
Okay, one comment on the door. I do have people.
Hold on, close.
So the people helps. On the gas pump using the tap card, where on the pump do you tap the card?
So they'll have a little box that's usually about that big or so. I'm sorry. They have a little box. What she's asking is for the tap at the gas pump, where do you use it at? And they're usually by where you insert the card. There's a little square box or rectangle box that has like a Wi-Fi looking symbol. And
Not all of them have it though.
not all
Not
of
all
them have, you have to
gas
sign for that.
So it's usually one box that you can swipe your card on the side. If you swipe, you can insert your card for the chip reader. And then there is the little screen.
And it's got a little Wi-Fi little symbol on top.
It has like 3 type things, basically like your Wi-Fi signal when you see on your phone. That's what's on the card. That's what will be on the actual device, the gas pump. And that's what you hold the card up there until it beeps. And then once it does that, then it's taking your card.
And
So it shouldn't really be called tap. It should be called like tap and hold or something. 'Cause if you tap, it's not going to scan.
Not all. How do you know if your card will do that?
It has the lines on the card as well. So if you look at your card that you have, it'll have those 3 things. It's either on the front of the card, it's on the back of the card. Nowadays, a lot of the ones that have the chip in them, and you can see the little chip, they are tap cards as well. But look for those 3 little lines, and that way you'll know for sure it'll work.
When we see the ads on TV with people rushing to car rentals or stores and, I beat you and tap the card. So be cool and tap your cards.
Yeah. And your phone these days, you can attach your credit cards to the phone. You can attach them to your smart devices or your watch. I can double tap this and scan my card. It takes it just like if you had the credit card there, because it's all connected digitally. My wife's card messed up and stopped working on her watch, and I noticed our bill went down. And she was frustrated because the card was no longer on there. And it's just so easy to get a Coke out of the machine, get a snack out of the machine. I was like, I don't know if we need to put that back on your watch. This is too simple for you.
Okay. Oh, yes, Don?
Something that you should do if you're traveling, especially international, and have credit cards, put a travel alert on that website for your investment account, and you can put a limit on the amount that can be withdrawn,
Yes.
charged on that.
Yes. So he's talking about travel cards, putting a limit on it, put it into where you contact the company and say, hey, I'm going to be traveling to this country. So that way it's not a fraudulent charge. I've had some of that where I've been just in the States, but I was in another state. I swiped and it denied right off the bat and sent me an alert saying, are you in Tennessee? Because I'm usually not in Tennessee. Yes, I am. And then we continue on, the card works.
Yeah, they do that now. So instead, I tried when I went to Costa Rica to put one of those travel things. They said they don't need it anymore. If they see your pattern, and I'm usually Georgetown, Round Rock. So if tomorrow I'm in Chicago, yeah, I'll get an alert. I'll confirm it, and then they unlock it. They know I'm traveling. Back in the day, they didn't have the technology they have now, so it makes it a lot easier. But putting a limit is good. Putting a limit is good. That way, just in case you lose it or whatever, they can't overcharge. But then you can't overcharge either. So
You're pointing somewhere. Where are you? Oh, okay, Sandra.
On the credit bureau credit locks, was it Officer Walters who was talking about?
yes.
But do you just choose one of them and go on there and set it up where you can do that?
I think each individual one has their own thing, but
The three, the experience.
yes, but each one, you can set that type of thing up. I don't know if it blocks it for the other ones. If you do it on one, I would assume it doesn't
Probably
because you're
would.
contacting one.
The thing is, when they pull your credit, usually they run all three anyway. So as long as you have one locked, doesn't guarantee they're going to run all three, but most places they run all three main ones. But they don't. Equifax is separate from the other TXU or whatever.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
Because some companies will pull just certain ones, or they'll pull all three. So it all just kind of depends. I would contact each one if you want to do that. Yeah.
Other questions? Yes, over here. Oh, okay, we'll go here and then back.
Unfortunately, I had the bad experience of wanting to eat Chinese in town. And when it came time to pay for my meal, I gave the waitress my card. She brought it back to the register, didn't have one of those card readers, and less than an hour later, we get a charge from some company out in China somewhere for something that I would have never purchased. And so I called the restaurant and I said, I will never come back to your restaurant to eat anymore because this is what just happened. And I said, I saw the eye contact of the person behind the cash register. Like, I hope he didn't do anything wrong. I had another instance where I had to give my credit card. I was buying a prescription from a pharmacy that was not in town and gave him my credit card number over the phone so we could pick it up. And less than an hour later, I had another charge on my card. So the next day I called the pharmacy and I said, I will never do business with you again because this is what happened. And I said, I know the person who took my number was a young person. And I said, I think you should know that you need to be aware of who's working for you.
Did you file a report by any chance? You should file a report because we could follow up with that. We could actually go back to the pharmacy or back to the restaurant and investigate because there's, depending on if when you file a report, you give that information, it gives the detective something to follow.
Yeah. So what she's
Get
describing.
the monitoring our accounts and see what's going on.
Yes, and when what Officer Selena is saying, if you have something that's happening locally, you went to the gas station and then you feel like the card was skimmed, call us about that because that's local here that we can deal with. That's people here that are putting those skimmers on. If somebody takes your card and later that day you're having fraudulent charges, call us and report that because then we can check at that place that you use that, see if they have surveillance videos, talk to the staff, all that kind of stuff to see if we can make an arrest here. And that's a local thing that we can do something about.
Okay, let's take one more question right over here.
Should we be concerned using Siri or Alexa for getting voice recognition or getting too much information from us?
Did you understand the question?
Wait, what do you?
Just using it because they listen to everything we say.
So I can't speak to that. I haven't heard anything that has been related to a Siri, Alexa type thing, but always use caution. If you feel like it may be something that is too sensitive, then don't do it.
Like Siri, Alexa, they're big companies. Google, they're not out to scam you that way. They're out to sell you stuff later.
Yes.
Information.
You may also be thinking about, is there any way your voice could be recorded and passed on to others? That I think.
I mean, it could be, but usually the voice stealing, they're going to have to steal it from Google or from Alexa or from them. So I haven't had any problems with that I've heard of in 12 years related to that. So I mean, I didn't know that you could make phone calls through Alexa. So back in the day when I was grounding my kids, taking the cell phone away, they were using Alexa to make phone calls at night. So I'm like, wait a minute, how are they making phone calls when I have their phone? So yeah, their account was linked to Alexa. So I took the Alexa out of the bedroom. But anyway, I got scammed through my daughters that way.
Okay, we were going to take one more than that. Right here.
This is very different, very unusual. I just want to see if I'm overreact or not. I go to the bank and I wanted to open a CD account. And the first thing they ask me is my social security number and my ID card number. And we're not in business yet. And after like 4 times I went there back and forth, you need to bring your trust and you need to bring them. So back and forth. And in the end, nothing worked out. And I was very uncomfortable with why do they ask me for my social security before we even are in business? Am I overreacting on this or?
If you went into the bank, I would say no, but if you feel strange about it, you don't have to give it to
You
them.
don't have to. You go to another bank.
Yeah.
Now, usually I go in to ask questions, yes, but if you're already saying, I want to open a CD, the first thing they're going to do is verify your social and your ID before they waste your time. So the social is a common thing if you're walking into the bank. If you're only getting information like, hey, how do CDs work? What do you need to open an account? Just general questions, they're not going to ask for your social. But if you're already saying, hey, I want to open a CD, well, the first thing, if I'm the banker or the salesman, because when people say I want to buy a car, first thing I want to know, how are you going to pay for it? Do you have cash, credit? Then the first thing I want to do is run your credit before I waste my time showing you a $60,000 car that you can only afford $5,000. So if you're walking into a bank, more than likely, it's legit that they're asking for information, unless you're only asking for general information. If you don't feel comfortable, trust your instincts, go to another bank.
So now my social security number is already exposed. Is it very ridiculous for me to think that, oh, that person might sell my social security? I'm not talking about the bank, but the person who took who wrote down my social security, will they sell it to some bad guys or something?
I mean, it's possible. Anybody, anywhere could be corrupt. It's possible. That's why you monitor your bank statements and you check your credit card statements and you just be careful. Because I mean, nothing is 100% proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing is.
We're going to need to cut this off. I want to thank you.
Answer it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to be over at this table. So feel free to move over there to ask questions as well as visit with our educational partners. Oh, and I forgot to say one of the partners is our downsizing business. And I'll try to be over there for people who want more information about Seniors Living Smarter Services, which is full downsizing. Again, thank you all for being here very much. So we do have friends at the police department. And I'll let you all go ahead and make your way over there. Yeah, and then or be entertained. You have your yellow feedback forms. If you will leave those in the basket at the table where you picked up your packets, that will be great. And if you'll leave your card with your burning question for our experts next month, who will be seniors who've downsized. Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Virginia, I also wanted to mention that the officers do have this Senior Safe magazine at their table. So if this is something you're interested in, it has several different articles and it's a really good piece of literature. So they will have those at their table as well.
Thanks for being here and feel free to give us a call if we can help you with anything. And see you November 9th to hear stories from our seniors who've downsized.